short break. We're back already. And now, Travis, thanks to the magic of space, time, and the continuum.
Oh, yes, that's how it works.
Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Todd Glass. I had a one-on-one conversation with him yesterday, and it was absolutely amazing. About 30 minutes. We're going to throw to that. We're going to come back after that with John Caparulo live in studio. Todd Glass, if you don't know him, made history. It's widely considered one of the most important or biggest podcast episodes of all time when he decided to come out in his 40s as being homosexual on WTF with Mark Maron. It was a huge podcast episode. He was an absolute delight. Really enjoyed him. Again, he's at Helium Comedy Club all weekend long. We'll throw to that now. It's Chris Denman with Todd Glass. Welcome to We Are Live. Welcome to the Midcoast Studio. Welcome to St. Louis, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here. I was just saying before we went on, I don't think I've been here. When I was little, my dad he was in the shoe business. So there were like big shoe shows here where you could buy shoes.
Do you have to rip the scab off of our industrialized failures? Man, come on. Your dad came through here for shoe business.
Yeah, and I went with him. He would once in a while because my mom probably begged him to take me because
right.
Like, all I did was talk 24 hours a day. She would take him, but I always had fun. But that was the last time I've been here. So I was like, I'm here and I hear great things, you know.
No, it is.
I know I'm working there, but it genuinely is. Helium is like you think a comedy club is what you go to. You don't think, oh, this is this comedy club. You just think, oh, this is what comedy clubs are.
Yes.
Helium, there's like 6 or 7 of them now, but they just prove, you know, you can have a comedy club that has soul. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, you know, they serve food and they serve drinks, but it also cares about comedy, how it's presented. And
that's
so nice.
Super important too, because you don't want to train people to come out to some weird dog and pony show. No. There's the ambiance, there's the rules that people need to be, for lack of a better term, taught to follow.
No, you're totally right, and it's not an insult. It's like you cater. The only reason you would cater, I think, to people that are, for lack of a better word, I don't want to say
lowest common denominator.
What?
Lowest common denominator.
Yeah, or they don't know the rules of comedy that you can have fun, but you can't heckle, and you're there. You have to train them.
It's weird because people will take it and get insulted.
They do. It's funny. I just went through this last week at a club. We were talking about it, and but real quick. Yeah. So you cultivate whatever you want. Now it takes a little longer to cultivate a bigger audience, but you just if you don't want people that are ignorant and drunk, when you open up your club, you're not a soup Nazi. It's not like they don't care about the customer.
You can have fun.
They do. They respect the customers. But that does not mean respecting the customer means that they can yell or talk. And no one really heckles anymore. You know what most of it is? It's loud talking at tables.
Correct.
And let's say 10 is the strictest you could be with that.
Yep.
The Helium's a 10. And you notice after 2 or 3 years in a market, they slowly train. So you can either appease the people that are loud and obnoxious. I don't know why clubs. Maybe they figure there's not enough people that will respect comedy to put 275 people in a club 5 times a week. So they go, oh, we better cater. I don't think bad clubs think that, but they just think, oh, we'll have birthday parties and we'll celebrate that. Helium, you know, I love it. It's not that they don't care that it's your birthday, that it gives a sense of entitlement. And once you go, whose birthday out there? And people raise their hand.
Have some fun.
Then they think it's part of it. No, if it's your birthday, well, then come enjoy a great show. And that will do for you. And you'll have delicious food, and it will be beautiful. So, they get it, and it's all, I'm happy to be here. Tonight I'm going to see Ripe. They're a newer band.
Interesting. Do you know what the venue is?
Look, can you look?
Here, I got it. I'll look it up.
I'm going to see them. And I was a little bit, I just got over, I feel great now. But I want to. Can I give a plug to somebody?
Please.
Okay, cool. So Victoria's Men's Health, they're gonna come to my hotel room later, and I'm gonna get a vitamin
Victory Men's Health from here in St. Louis.
Yeah. You've heard of it?
I have.
And they're gonna and they have a.
That was good. Like we rehearsed it. Like, actually, Todd,
I have. And they became highly recommended to me, and they're gonna come by the hotel. They're nurses. They're certified nurses, and I'm gonna get a shot of vitamin B12
to go party tonight.
I want to be 100%.
That's great. Yeah. I like that. In 2019, you could do that.
Yeah, I've heard about it. All my friends have mentioned it. You go, yeah, look, a certified nurse, they come there. But I'm like, is there any place like that here in St. Louis? And someone's like, yeah, it's I always say Victory wrong. Victory Men's Health, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So thank you, Victory Men's Health.
Taking care of you, man. Look at you. I like that. I handle all our sales stuff here. keep that moving,
You
man.
throw some love their way, and then they throw some love your way. So
Into
it's
you,
all,
to
it's
throw
all
the
good.
vitamin B
Right.
in.
I'm gonna
Old
be
Rock House.
raring to go. Where are they?
Old Rock House tonight.
Oh yeah.
That's a great
Okay.
venue.
That's what everybody. That's
I've
what
seen plenty of bands there. Or my buddy Rafe did a comedy show there, and I saw Joey Diaz and Ari Shaffir there like
Really?
5-6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going-
it's a good rowdy time. Yeah.
I'm going with. I think he's not from here, but Andy Frasco and UN, but not the UN's, just Andy Frasco.
Andy Frasco.
He's going to come to my show tonight.
Is he playing too?
He
somewhere?
might. He's just coming to my show tonight, and then he might close the show with a song. I said, why don't you come by? I'll have a piano
with
up there
with
anyway.
the crazy hair
Yeah,
and everything. That
he's
guy
great.
is wild.
He
man.
is-
He was just on your podcast.
He was, and
Yeah.
the show he does. He's not there tonight. We're just going to go see right. But anyway, I digress.
You digress. So I'm looking at everything that you have working, everything you have going on. We're talking about clubs. Your special that's on Netflix, right?
Act happy, yeah.
But Act Happy. So in today's world, you do a scout for a location. You pour your soul into this, all your material, everything. Where'd you shoot the special? How did you come to say now's the time? It's on Netflix. Like, feels it can be wrongly thought like, everybody gets a Netflix special. No, it's still a big deal, and you can still do a lot with it. Your experience with choosing a venue, the crowd, and are you happy with the way things have progressed?
Look at
You've been doing
you.
specials since 2001. Even you can even say that thing in. I've read up on you plenty, but 1990-ish, you did something.
Yeah, I did.
I mean,
I think that's when I did my first Comedy Central half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was then. But yeah, you asked some good questions, and you're right. A lot. Where I'm at my career,
Mm-hmm.
it's unless they give a lot of specials out, but where I'm at, you got to sort of deserve it or earn it.
and you can't throw out haphazard stuff because they're gonna be like, Todd, what's going on, man? We expect a laugh from you.
Yeah, I love this one, and you always look back and are embarrassed of your old work, and which is okay. It means I used to.
Anything,
I
yes.
used to think I just asked my friend Gary Goldman once. I said, "When am I going to stop being embarrassed of my old work?" And he gave me such a clean, great answer. He goes, "Hopefully never."
In the most affable, lovely way possible because he's
Yeah.
Gary Coleman.
It means you grow. It means you're growing. So what do you want to do? Oh, my best work, that was 5 years ago. Of course you want to think your best work is ahead of you.
Right.
And you grow socially, you change. That's why I've always say I'm not affected. People go, how's comedy with all this PC stuff going on? It's not bothering me.
Yeah.
That only bothers you, I think, if you don't mind growing. Socially. Oh, I learned, that joke was insensitive, not by a court order, by my own fruition. Just like when you have kids or a significant other and you learn how to get along with them better. You don't do it, if you do it begrudgingly, well, no, but I don't do it begrudgingly. I just, on my own, I grow and I change. And that special was everything. I got to do everything my way. And it's funny you say the set, we went to a place, it was called The Lyric. Which is a great place, but they let us do whatever we wanted.
I'm ignorant. Where's it at?
It's in Los Angeles. I didn't want to do it in front of a big crowd. And I didn't want it to be, of course, 2,000 or 1,000, but I didn't even want it to be 400. I just wanted it to be like when you're in New York, there's these jazz clubs you can go to, or whatever. It could be jazz, soul, or whatever it is. It's a smaller venue. Maybe it holds 100 people,
Right.
But it's a big deal to get in. You go downstairs. There's, it's nice black tablecloths
Yes.
to the floor.
People have put some stake. They paid for parking to get
Yes,
down there.
and it's a big deal, and it's treated like Taj Mahal. The lights go down, boom, and ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. It's
I love it.
Yeah, me too. I get excited.
It gives me chills thinking about it.
Thank
That's
you.
what sets it. That's
You know what?
Exciting.
I appreciate you saying that because me too. That's why I want to do it, because you can get people excited just as they're entering the room. Have it look a certain way.
Talk about teaching an audience. You're just like, there's no room for teaching. This is it. You are in it. You are following the path.
You can teach them, and teach sounds like a weird word because
Right.
you're not being insulting to anybody.
Right.
But you can train them like sometimes the minute they enter the room. I'll sometimes have two people up on stage, in black suits, and one plays keyboards, one plays drums, or a stand-up bass, playing as they're being seated. So you go, this is what you're going to experience tonight. And it's not that my show is stuffy, because it's not. I'm pretty loose and silly.
No.
But it still means you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
That special, I had a 7-piece band with me, and they were all dressed nice. And
Yes.
So that special was everything I wanted it to be. I was at the point in my career where the guy who directed it, a guy named Jeff Rowe, I said something a minute ago, but when he said this to me, I go, this guy gets what I want. I said, I want it to be like where there's a few cocktail tables up front, and then it goes into like, stadium seating. Even though there's 100 people, I want them the first row of tables and then raised every row a foot higher than the other. So it's just like circled around you in a semicircle.
Yes.
And when I said black tablecloths, and I said, do you know what I mean? He goes, you mean black tablecloths to the ground?
Yes.
And I went, how the fuck are you allowed to curse on
Do
here?
your thing, man.
Not that I have to curse. How do you? Yes, because that's
Black
a
tablecloths
different
get
type
you
of
excited.
restaurant.
Yes.
It's black tablecloths is cool, but to the ground means you're like
We're here.
Goodfellas where they
Yes.
pull a table up front. And so that special was. I'm still proud of it. I watched
Great.
it. I mean, you don't watch it forever, and then once in a blue moon, I'll take a peek at it. I always
Yeah.
take a peek at just the opening.
Sure.
And I go, I still like it.
That's good. That's a really good place to be, especially whenever I bet at certain points when you've achieved some of the things you've achieved, had some of the eyes on you that have been on you, you have to be able to stop in the excitement. Your heart rate's racing, the way you're talking about it right now, for you to be able to be like, stop. This is a big deal, and I love it. Like, that's a good place for anyone to be, whether you're 5 years in, 20 years in, whatever, because you see a lot of people that maybe disassociate a little bit, and they're like, oh, I'm just doing my thing. No, stop. Enjoy these kind of things.
I
right?
really tried to. I had so much fun at that special. We did 2 shows, and someone else was putting a lot of money into it. So
who produced it for you? Did Netflix do the whole thing?
No, Jeff. My friend Scott Moran, who he's the one who this other person came to him and said, "Is there anybody that you would want to do a Netflix special with?" And Scott said, "I think Todd Glass has a really good idea." And he was a friend. He was a friend already. But I was like, and then he introduced me to this other guy, and it pulled it all together. I remember the night of the show, because he put all the money into it. I didn't want to just smoke pot on the Late Show thinking. So I talked to him about it. He goes, here's what we'll do. You go out there, you'll do your first show, you do the second show. If you feel like you nailed it on the second show, he goes, you'll go backstage and you can smoke a little.
Right.
And then so that's what happened. The first show I thought went well.
Yes.
The second show, I was tightening. I was like, boom, boom, boom. I was just going through it. I was ready. The band was just so tight with me. These guys are awesome. I'd worked with them. And then I go, okay, I got this. So I go backstage. They are waiting there with a big, big vape pen.
Nice, yes.
And it was this thing I've never seen before. It was so powerful. So I took a hit.
Intergalactic purple
It was
something.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. But it didn't, I thought, I'll put that in parentheses or underline it with an exclamation point. I thought, I got back out. I walked right back to the stage, and this took about 40 seconds.
Sure.
And I go, I don't think I got enough. So I went back, I got another hit, and I went out on stage, and I remember being out there for like 2 minutes, and I was like, at this point going, oh, guys, you're relaxed.
Yeah,
Thanks for
sure.
coming out. And I thought, the pot didn't hit me. I wanted to go back out, and then it did. I was like, oh my God, I was so silly and I was silly during the show, but
Of course.
So I went out and did about another 25 minutes and just messed with the crowd a lot. And
Checked that box, and you were happy with what you had on the table, right?
I was all good to go. And then there we go.
Fantastic. What about the editing process and for the special? Are you in on that, or do you have
was.
somebody?
I hate editing is monotonous.
Horrible.
And so if you have someone that's got your best interest and they can he said, here's what I did. Look at this.
And you do your tweaks.
Because he did a good job.
Yes,
So I was able to go, okay, I like the order. I love the way he let things breathe. And you left that in? I love that you left that in. I thought I was going to have to fight for you to leave that in.
Yes.
And I was just tweaking. This guy he did a beautiful job. And it looked, what someone said, it was a compliment. My friend goes, it looks like a place in that special. If you watch it, Act Happy, you go, oh, I want to go there, but it doesn't really exist because
Right.
we created it in the shell of this place.
That makes it even much more special because it was a one-time thing, and then it's mythically gone.
Yeah,
off
it's all
into-
gone unless
into
you
the
want to
world.
recreate it and open up your own club.
Lyric with Todd Glass every Sunday right here in St. Louis.
Maybe
We
I'll
can do
come
it.
here and open up a club.
I think you should, man. We'll
Compete
look
with-
into the demographics and
Yeah.
see what we could do. So, okay, so at this point, you're here again at Helium Comedy Club all weekend long. Very excited about that. Had so many people. I always love whenever we're big into podcasting, right? Here, so whenever people that put their heart and soul into a podcast, I can tell by their fans or people that reach out to us, we're so involved with comedy that people are like, you haven't talked glass in? You haven't talked glass in? I'm getting that podcast wave, so that's exciting for me on your behalf, if that makes sense.
No, I appreciate it. We were talking about that before
Yeah.
we came in here. And some of the comedy fans, I think comedy's at a great place. I really do. And I think some people, if they don't, it's probably because they're not immersed in the scene. I'm still out there doing clubs. And yes, there's bad comedy clubs. Of course there are. But there's also more, I think, great comedy clubs now than ever before popping up around that. Like I say, I always like to say, look, we get it. A lot of comedy clubs, you do have to serve drinks. Some of them serve food. But you can do that and still have a great club. Still have a soul. What I like to call it, a comedy club with a soul. They get what makes comedy. They get, you need to have someone on site, not that only knows how to run a restaurant. You do need someone that knows how to run a restaurant. That is part, underline part of your business. But you also have a comedy club, and it needs a soul. So you have both. You have management that knows the restaurant business, and you have someone else that, this guy's dealt with comedians for 20 years. They like him. He has a good energy. Let's make sure he's here at night. So there's a good energy, and the comedians are having a great time. So I've been just, loving touring around, and a lot of the like comedy Bang Bang or Getting High with Doug or Jimmy Pardo show. These great people come out that really respect comedy, and it's fun and it's exciting.
It is too, and I just got flashbacks to rest in peace, the late great Brody Stevens having, I believe he had Sam Tripoli and your friend and recent guest on the Todd Glass show, Eddie Pepitone, on, and they were talking about the exact same thing. So that I love that whenever, and of course they have their own ways of going about it too, but screaming about comedy clubs that hire people that are running a TGI Fridays to deal with folks like you, who you're a star in the comedy world, and if somebody doesn't quite know how to finesse that, and I'm not even saying like in a diva manner, just to run a comedy club, you want that to work right.
Yeah, Helium has, again, Helium.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're the only ones. The Vermont Comedy Club is a crazy great comedy club. There's a place in Comedy on State. I was at a place in Springfield, Missouri called the Blue Room.
Blue Room. Our friend Mia Jackson she's doing a show down there in Springfield. Yeah.
And you go through a pool hall. It can be in the weirdest place you don't know. Then you go down this ramp, and then you open this door, and it's this sea. They have every light in the room blue, so it's beautiful in there. And I had a band there playing, so people are being sat. The room is this thick blue, and there's a jazz band playing up on stage, not singing, just jazz, just background music while you're seated. So there's a lot of them, but you're right. Like you got to understand, like if you want a comedy club that has both, and you can have both. So it's exciting, and I've been liking touring around more. I always like touring, but now that you can go to these really cool places, it's fun. And I love going to a club for 3 or 4. I love going to a club for 5 nights.
Dude, and I love that you're getting into the scene too, and you're hanging out with Andy Frasco. You're going to a rock show after your show. It's Thursday. This is going to air on a Friday. It's Thursday tonight. You're going to go charm the pants off the crowd at Helium, and then you're going to go out with your B12 in your veins, and you're going to rock it out.
Let me tell you something. I'm so excited about tonight. Number one, I'm seeing somebody, and they know a lot about new music. Now, I always knew there was good music now. The only people that say there's no good music are people, again, they listen to the radio, they watch television, and they don't know what's really going on. So lately, I've been introduced to a lot of really cool new bands. Like, Andy Frasco, a friend of mine told me about. He saw him at Andy Frasco in the UN. He told me about him. He goes, I saw him at this Denver Comedy Festival, and I was like, I couldn't get enough of this guy.
He's a regular here at a place called Broadway Oyster Bar.
Really?
He's crowd surfs, and it's insane.
But you know what it is? It's everything. Someone that can just get the crowd going, if that's all they do, that doesn't do it for me. To me, the reason Andy is amazing because he's playful and he'll crowd surf, but then you'll listen to his music, but this guy's great.
Oh, he's got chops. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can do this, and he can do a song that's maybe like Stop Fucking Around, but then he's got this other song. You're like, well, he just does everything. I love that guy. So I reached out.
Do you fuse that back to comedy too? Like I would say that, like Bert Kreischer, I don't know, you're buddies with it. You just did his show. If a random dickhead came out with his shirt off on stage, boo. Bert Kreischer gets up, and we're all like, yes, Bert's taking his shirt off. You know,
there's just something
because he brings it with the real, like a respected act, right?
There's just the whole deal. You got the whole
Yeah.
package. So tonight it's like I'm so excited because it's like I'm gonna get to.
Are you going to
do the
check in
show.
with your guy? Are you going to be like, I'm at a show? So you've been recently. So your boyfriend showed you a bunch of new music. Or you're seeing somebody.
Hey,
that
he's
said,
up with the terms.
Excuse me.
I call it my girlfri's brother.
Girlfriend's
That's
brother.
our joke.
I love that.
That's our joke.
That's great.
That because it's just all the because they came out later in life.
I get it. Yeah.
All those. By the way, you did the right thing. You were just comfortable, but it is a thing. Like, okay, I think, oh, Todd, come on, get over it. And I think, look, you've done a pretty good job in the last 5 years of. Being your true self on stage and to your friends and
well,
family.
if anybody doesn't know, a Seminole, as a huge podcast fan or whatever, we have two things that Todd that immediately jump to my mind. You know us; we always we have this weird good relationship with Adam Carolla. He's helped us a bunch. You talked about having a heart attack on his show right afterwards. I feel like I remember that, and then coming out to the world on WTF, which. I mean, not maybe as big. Like it's one of, if not the biggest. They've had the freaking president on there, and for you to do that with somebody, I'm assuming you've known Mark since the '80s.
I knew Mark for a long time,
Right.
and most of my comedian friends in the comedy community, they knew.
Widely considered one. Yeah, I was gonna. That's how it works,
They knew,
right?
and let me just say this real quick for whatever it's worth. And sometimes you want to get on a loudspeaker and say this to everybody. Stop saying. People love to say, "Oh, I knew." Oh, Todd had. Yeah, I know you knew. My uncomfortability wasn't based on you, and I know. Well, I knew could come from a place of love or come from a place of someone that says, not always. Sometimes it comes from a place of, I knew. It can be affectionate and sweet.
course.
But often it comes from someone that goes, why do they have to go on television? Why do they have to go and announce it? We knew. Okay, who cares? Or someone that goes, who cares? Who cares? Why is it such a big deal? You have to go, my caring didn't start when I met you. My caring started when I was 5 years old and I heard things, 6 years old, 10 years old. Never from my family, by the way. My family was, you know what? My parents never sat us down and had lectures where I could go, my dad sat me down. But they lived this life, which I realized later in life that not only did they have gay friends, and they, of course, had straight friends, and they had black friends, and all types of friends, and rich friends, and poor friends. We were relatively... we did pretty. My dad did okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I say. But when they met people, some people wouldn't have friends outside of their social class.
True.
Certain people wouldn't have friends outside of their weight class. And you know what I mean? Like if
I
somebody
absolutely
was
do.
morbidly obese and they would be like, oh, I hate it. I feel this way. But my parents didn't. They had friends of so amongst.
That's incredible.
Under
by the
my
way.
roof, it was like my parents. They met people. They liked them. That's who we hung out with.
And
so
that's
we
what
had,
made you probably as affable as a human as you are today, too.
I hope
right?
so.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of that, just being who they were, basically. But yeah, when you do it, you know people know. Some people don't know, by the way. That's to be dealt with. There are people that genuinely have no idea. But there's also they know. You'll say behind people's backs, I know they know. Why can't I tell them? Mm-hmm. So that's what it was for me a lot. I knew my comedian friends knew and didn't give a shit.
Right.
But I decided, how can I do this in one clean sweep and let everybody know?
Boy,
and be done with it. I
WTF.
It was a popular show, still is, and I thought I can go on there. I feel like I have a lot to say. I can have the time to say it. Mark was just great.
I remember listening when
great.
it first came, and then at the same time,
I was so nervous. Oh
how
my
do
God.
you feel too? Is there a magnitude to you just with like we're talking about podcasts and the growth and how crazy it is as a medium now? Do you feel like that was a landmark seminal moment in podcast history? It's widely considered one of the best podcast episodes, period, of all time. I'm sure there's been articles written on it. That's huge. And then what does that mean to you, that it means something to all the people that you were doing it for outside of yourself? Because you absolutely had to have that. I believe you said it. You had it in mind because
it was
you
a
saw
motivator. Because it was, it was a motivator that I knew what it was like for me when I was younger. So I knew that was a motivator to do it. But essentially, of course, just good for me to be who I am.
Of course.
It was, it was just, you know what it helped me do? Because people, by the way, I got a lot of emails from people. You know, if you're gay and you're hiding it, that's one thing people hide. But people hide a lot of things, and there's not a competition which is harder. Yeah, I'm sure some are harder than others. But I got letters from people that go, it is hard. I had a DUI that I got 5 years ago. I'm not proud of it. I am a changed person. Now I moved to this other city, and I'm still dealing with some of the, but I don't want to mention it to anybody at my work, and it's stressful. So hiding stuff is hard. But your question, for me, it just tapped into, you know, podcasting, how great it is. Podcasting has made my comedy so much better. I mean,
it's unbelievable. Think about that. The people you have on your show, you get to exchange ideas. There's no, okay, chop, 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 chop. It's such a, to me, it means so much as a medium. And to sit here and talk to somebody like you about this stuff too, it's really important. And I think that's why it continues to grow so much.
Yeah.
And people
and I think people that think like, oh, you know, there's a lot of people as they get older, they go, nothing's what it used to be. And maybe because you're not immersed in what's new that's good. It doesn't mean everything new has to be good, but you don't want to turn into one of those people. And you know, when they start doing it, and sometimes I talk about this on my show a lot, and I'll go, hey, by the way, don't think because you're 25 you can sit back. No, it starts at 25. It starts at 25. That's when you put your shoulders up and you go, I don't want to turn it. And I get really rage comes out of me.
Yes.
When the shoulder thing, that's when they go, can I sell this? If I just go, I don't mean to turn. I want to go to their shoulders, not literally, and go, put your shoulders down and don't go, because it's not adorable.
Yeah.
If you really don't want to turn into that person, then don't. Then don't.
That's perfect.
So, because when you're not immersed in what's new and having the advantages of what's new, then yeah, I guess change is hard. Change is hard. Change sucks.
Todd,
I get it.
We are sitting around a campfire, basically, right now. That's what is funny to me. It's like a pod, what? I'm like, it's a long form conversation, and it's not, you know, people are getting more adept to it, but at the same time, this is literally us sitting around a campfire. Like, this is what this isn't some new crazy thing.
And being and talking and just having a good time, and you know, it's great. So I'm a big. I think that it's all. I forget your question.
No,
but
just
how you
what
doing?
it meant to you to be part of to be part of that. And again, it's obvious that you've embraced it, kinda. I mean, I don't know.
No, I embrace.
I'm messing with
yeah,
you.
I embrace. That's why even everything people just. People, you know what I always say to get people, like, you know what I always think you can get the most and change? Look, when we think of people that are, not everybody that's having trouble with whatever is on the plate, whether it's go back to, the Redskins and that situation, or whatever it is, I have a theory that it's anything new. And I catch most people that they're not growing, you're not growing, not because you looked into everything new and gave it thought. I'm getting you by mass.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, go, okay, I've known you for 10 years. When recycling, you sort of go, you shit on it. 20 years ago, gay marriage, you're like, I don't give it. And whatever it is, it's like, oh, it's whatever thing comes aboard, whatever the new thing is that this group is saying, hey, can we have our rights? Can we have this? You're always against it. And these are the people, if you go back far enough, it's anything new. And that's where you're losing me, because it's not that you've studied it and went, no, I looked into this. It's, oh, it's new. People didn't want to pick up their dog shit 30 years ago.
Correct.
By the way, I'm not kidding around. You might go, oh, that's funny sounding. No, they didn't. They would be like, oh, this is absurd. I'm going to talk about the wrong person being mad. There's nothing worse than being cocky and wrong. And it's like, oh, what do you do? Pick up my dog shit? Yeah, because crazy people pick up their dog shit.
Right.
Normal people let their dog shit in front of someone's home and walk away. But back then, it seemed like, so to me, even if it's this thing now going on with non-binary, am I saying it right?
I guess. Yeah.
I'm
not even trying to.
With there and that. It's confusing.
Sure.
But if on the other side of it is, let's say, a sexual revolution, even in 5 years, if we go, you know what, we didn't end up with calling this that. It changed a little what we needed.
Evolved,
but on the other side of it is evolution. And there can be I think we're about to experience another sexual revolution, which is a good thing. Sure. Which is a good thing. So whenever
and it doesn't mean it's forced upon people as well, right?
Well, sometimes people feel it is. You know what I say, and
lazy.
I'll end it here. It's like if you go to couples counseling with your family, you could either leave and go, wow, that really helps me understand them better. I don't agree with everything, and I have questions for my therapist when she says you should talk like your significant other this, or your children, you might want to discipline them this way instead of that way. It might have long-term better effects. You're allowed to ask questions in therapy. You should ask questions in therapy. But that's not what we're talking about. Asking questions is okay. Most people, they're like, ugh. Because they don't want to get on the other side
It's
of it.
easier to do that to just act that way.
Yeah, and a friend of mine that works on the podcast, his name is Aaron. His mother said something really interesting. She's a therapist. She goes, I always ask clients, be honest with me. Your significant other's not in the room. She goes, sometimes I'll see them separately before I see them together. Or once I've seen them together, then let's have a session next week, just you. The week after that, just you. She goes, let me ask you a question. Do you have interest? Don't just say yes, because I'm going to ask you a question. She talks sort of like me, and I loved it. She goes, you're going to want to say yes to this, but I want you to think about it. Do you have interest in understanding what your child wants you to hear or what your wife wants you to hear, And because that's where it all starts. And I think if you ask most people, they'll be like, do you really want to understand this new plight? Do you? And if the answer is no, be brave and say no, but don't just say yes.
And if you say no, that means you can find a path to get interested in it too. Like it's not a death sentence.
Or it'll make sense why you don't understand it. Well, you don't understand it because you have no interest in understanding it.
And you know what I understand?
I digress.
Todd Glass at Helium all weekend long.
Yeah.
And the Todd Glass Show, and check out Act Happy on Netflix. What do I need to look out for in the next year from you? You're just going to tour super hard, work on projects, take over the world even more?
I just want to tour. If my dream comes true in about I hope within a year, I'm working on a new show. It's basically my life. It goes back about
like a touring show or a TV
it would be
series?
I would have a podcast in the show. It'd be my real life we go back about 3 years before I came out. About 3 episodes. 3 episodes would be before I came out, just to give people what led up to that
context.
And then it would be my life now. About 20% of it would deal with me being gay. There, I said it. And then because that's what it doesn't consume my life. It's not my identity. That was my fear, is that once I said that, it would be my identity, and I didn't want that to be my identity. My friend goes, Todd, don't worry. 2 nights before I went on Mark Maron, he goes, it's not your identity, and it won't become your identity. It will become your identity if you make it your identity.
Correct.
Now, granted, if you're in a situation somewhere where everyone is not okay with it, they'll make it your identity behind your back.
That's on them.
But that's a different situation. But so now I'm just touring around and just loving it more than ever before. And I'm going to see Ripe tonight. Victoria Men's Health, thank you for coming by the hotel later.
Yes.
And I'm going to have so much energy tonight at the Ripe show with my buddy Andy Frasco.
I love it. Todd Glass, thanks for coming by Midcoast Studio, man.
Thank you.
What a sweet Todd Glass hat.
Hey, everybody. It's Chris and Travis. We're back. Want to say some controversial black and white things real quick?
Black people be like this, yo, what's up, dog? And then white people be like, I pay my taxes. Does that work?
Get off my lawn, dude.
Oh, there you go.
Pull up your pants, man.
That's pretty good. Look at that. That's pretty deep.
We'll be right back with Hick and Hop. Hey, guys, it's been a fun show today. It's Friday. We got a big weekend ahead. You got to go see John Caparulo at the Funny Bone in Westport. First, I got to tell you about Gateway Powder Coating. They are located right here in the St. Louis area. We've got Gateway Powder Coating. They're fast, durable, reliable. They take care of you. They look up from their phones when they're talking on it, and you're getting your hand waved at her. GatewayPowderCoat.com is the website you go to. Gateway Powder Coating, fast, durable, reliable, and affordable. What do you think about that, Travis? Affordable?
When I look for powder coating, I'm looking for something that's fast,
Powder
that's
coat
durable,
you.
and affordable.
That's right. Make sure you use Gateway Powder Coating when it's time to get your backyard looking right. You know how you do that? Because you've got metal chairs. They're rusty. You have a smoker. You're going to have people over. You want it to look great. GatewayPowderCoat.com. Right now, I just told you, he's at Funny Bone this weekend. He's made a special choice to come to St. Louis.
Oh, boy.
Because he's crushing it in Vegas right now. Not on the craps table, maybe on the craps table. John Caparulo. What's up, dude? Good to see you.
I need to make extra money because my powder coating bill is setting me back pretty
Through the
good.
roof, right?
Like every family, powder coating.
Bloviate on the needs of powder coating for the American family, if you don't mind.
How is Vegas treating you?
It's been real cool. Vegas is
It's a dry
for a
heat.
comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes.
Yes.
It's a vicious heat in the summer. I mean, because I grew up in Ohio, and you know, you get into July, and the sun is a bully. I mean, it's like yeah, like how you know, like when it gets real cold in the winter, and you got to like run from the car into a building, like because you're just trying to get away from it. That's how the sun is there. It's just like it's like waiting for you. Like yeah, get out of the car. Yeah, I'm gonna get you,
punk ass.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm gonna be on this dude. Yeah, you're gonna be red.
If I was the sun, if I was the sun, I would be looking at you like a tasty little treat.
I mean, if you're gonna be the sun, you know, you might as well be a dick about it, right? You know,
John, when did so you're here again? I'll tell you 8 million times. Funny Bone this weekend. You're very popular in St. Louis. I know people get excited.
Yeah, man.
It'll be
cool.
packed out. Yeah. So as far as other cities, I guess, what are the other cities that that pull you away from your Vegas residency?
Oh, Cleveland, Chicago, Columbus. You know, those were
Salt of the earth people, Travis.
They are.
Yes,
Those
yes,
Midwesterners.
yes. Good church folk.
What
is
part of
who I
Ohio are you
entertain
from?
tonight.
Good church folk. You're just going to the revivals
Yeah,
around
right,
the
yeah.
Midwest and doing
Hey, do we want to name
I
drop?
passed the hat at
Right.
the end of my.
That's smart. I like that.
Do we want to try and name drop to make John think we're cooler with a sweet Ohio name that's been in here?
Who was the most recent one?
Orlando Pace sat right in this
Is
chair
that right?
just a
Is
few
that
weeks
right?
ago. Yeah.
Ohio State was #1 draft pick 95.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. NFL
Oh,
Hall
so
of
the
Famer.
Ohioans know that.
Yeah, yeah.
What part
yeah.
of Ohio again?
I'm from it's a town called East Liverpool, Ohio. It's a place you would have no reason to visit. It's right on the border of PA and West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the Rust Belt.
You wanna
That
go there,
is-
Trav?
Like it sounds delightful. That's where it's located. What's bordering the city? That sounds very fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, who can resist PA and West Virginia? Yeah. Oh God. Sounds like a party to me. Yeah.
What about your? What
So
about
Ohio and West Virginia? What year did you start doing pain pills, dude? I gotta know.
What's that?
The Ohio and West Virginia, like that's you have to.
I
right?
was like,
He's like, dude, would you start doing meth, Missouri guy?
2001. I don't know. How'd you know? No.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
No,
that's popular there, I think. Yeah. You know, I've been to so many towns. Like
He's
you
moved
know,
on to cocaine in
when I was-
Vegas.
when I was, well, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
It's Vegas. It's hot, man. I'm not gonna be loaded up on opium. But
John has the opium den. Yes.
But I've been to so many towns when I was touring. There have to be at least 5 cities that have told me when I got there, we're the meth capital of the
Yes.
United States. And
Yeah.
it's like, why are so many towns vying for that title? You know, like, no, we're the meth capital.
They're
It's like,
putting in
I just
Amazon
think,
bids.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you just go into a pretty, like, a boring city, they're always like, yeah, we're the meth capital. You know, that's our
What
claim
do
to
you-
fame.
Hey, what do you think of that comedian guy?
It's like, whoa, I'm in the capital of meth. Wow, where's the meth Congress?
Do we think anybody will ever get humble on that? It's like we're number 3.
Yeah, right. You know, we're working on it.
Right.
You know, we have too many teeth right now to be ranked in.
One too many high school diplomas.
So it sounds like you come from a town like now that they see you in Vegas, successful comedian, do they? Oh, you going to the big city now? Think you a big funny man like you Jay Leno?
Why
You
do
like
they-
you Jay Leno now, big funny man?
Why do they sound like they're from
exactly
Birmingham?
like that.
They sound
Actually. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny because when I don't fool myself into thinking that I've made it, but I mean, yeah, I've done okay as far as comedy goes, and but people, like, once you start to have success and something like that, they just start to care more about how you act, because it's like, because I remember other comedians, like I remember when I first, started to, do well with my career, they'd be like, oh, Mr. Big Time now doesn't want to hang out with us. I'm like, I didn't want to hang out with you before. Like I didn't like you then. It's just you just didn't care. Now it's a big deal. Now it's like, oh, now he doesn't like us. I didn't like you before. It's just you just didn't. You were oblivious to it. Now it's like you notice. That's all.
It's one of those things you just have to hit it home with them and be like, listen, you are what you are, and just because I'm elevated doesn't mean you're any better now.
Right.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's you sucked before. That's what it is. Yeah, it's I mean, that's just how it is. With
So John had an established, successful career, and he moved into Las Vegas to take it to the next step, the next level, can still tour. Travis is a co-founder of this show, and then he's just picked up a gig doing a writing fellowship with Sesame Street in New York. It's very real. Can you give him his advice on success, where to go, what he needs to do to further this?
How late is Sabaro's open in New York?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I just assume you've done plenty of gigs in New York over the years, and you've actually had real success. And Travis is finding his way to cleaning the Big Bird suit.
The
Yeah,
cops,
I don't
the
work
cops,
with
they
them
don't bother
all, man.
minorities in that city, do they? I'm just curious. I couldn't find that on Yelp.
I think they bother them in every city. From what I hear, it's not fun. It's not
I don't know if you picked it up on the camera. John and I just gave each other a knowing nod, like, sorry, dude.
Yeah. I don't know
What are you gonna do?
The way John
Welcome
said
to
it
our
was like-
terrible country.
The way John said it, I was like, man, I got some news for you.
Oh, if you're just tuning in on the live stream, the very funny.
It's good that we can laugh.
Yes.
Pain is laughter. Don't forget that. I just want to remind everybody you can see John at Funny Bone all weekend long. That's out in Westport. I was trying to discuss this too. It's kind of fun if you can track a comedian's career arc or whatever. What is it that put you at the level you were comfortable with coming to St. Louis and crushing shows all weekend? Was there a specific moment that would say, like, I went from really strong feature to getting some headliner gigs to now, like, oh, there's 1,000 people coming to my shows over the weekend? Like, what was that point for you?
I'd have to say Chelsea lately.
Yeah.
You know, because that show, what it did was because I remember when I was first doing it. It started in 2007, and you know, when I was first doing it, I was like, is anybody watching this? You know what I mean? Like,
Which is crazy.
right,
yeah, I
right.
go do it maybe once a month at 1st, you know, and it was always fun because I loved the thing about it was like it's so spontaneous,
Right.
Like this, like we're just talking about
Right,
whatever,
right.
and you know what they would do on that show was like we would record the show about 3 p.m, but they would call me around noon when they decided on that day's topics, and
Right.
they said, "Here's the topics." And I would just, you know, I'd think of some jokes, whatever, this, that, you know, for them, and I would go over them with a producer,
Right.
just so they knew, you know, in case I had something that might be objectionable or, you know, whatever, they go, nah, you can't say that or whatever. But like, I learned pretty quickly not to get married to any sort of joke that I had because
Right.
we'd go out there and I could start into this great bit that I was really excited to do, and then Chelsea would just interrupt me and start talking about how fat my neck is. You know? I'd be like, well, I guess this is a neck bit now, all right? Well, but I personally, I love a challenge like that as a comedian to go, hey, this is, you know, I can be funny in this setting or this,
Right.
because I really knew nothing about these topics. I had no celebrity gossip. I just don't care.
Right.
You know, if it's not on Sports Center, I didn't hear about it. Like I really didn't. And but it was really, but what it did for me with that show once it just kept picking up in popularity was I started to get female fans. You know, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, it
because
is.
they plan the weekend.
They
a
plan
lot,
the
you know?
weekend and they spend a lot of money.
Right, and so I just from that, you know, not only did I get a lot more people coming to my shows that, you know, I could start, you know, because that's when I started touring because it wasn't so depressing,
Right.
You know, because I mean, if you tour as a sort of a no-name headliner, almost like. It's, you know, it's like you're headlining, but really you're just going third. You know, it's not nobody's coming to see you.
Nailed
you know?
it.
Right.
Nailed it. Yes.
And it's like, you know, it's actually more fun to be a feature at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you get the crowd; they're not expecting anything. It's just fantastic. But you know, I not only got a lot better numbers at my shows, but I ended up with a wife. So
Nice. That works
Yeah,
perfectly.
because she wouldn't give a damn about me if I wasn't on that show. Yeah, so yeah, it was awesome.
It's crazy when you think about all the, and I don't know who you run with, who you're friends with, whomever, but you think Joe Coy probably
Yeah.
got a big bump from that. Josh
Wolf.
Josh Wolf. Who am I
Ross
missing?
Matthews
I mean-
and let's see here. I
Michael
mean,
Yo, probably.
Michael
Yeah.
Yo became a stand-up based on that.
Based on
of
it, he
his,
did.
Because
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
we all kind of took it as a personal friend. Because I remember him.
Greg
going on
Fitzsimmons was on there too. Yeah.
Yeah. But like I remember Michael Yo was like, you know, Chelsea was asking him one time he was on. She's like, "So you're doing stand up now? How's that going?" And he's like, oh, it's easy. And we're all like,
Oop.
oh, you didn't just say, did you just say that? And it's like, it's easy when you're a reporter on E, you know? So it's like, yeah, I'm just doing this for fun. And if I bomb tonight, so what? I'm still a reporter on E.
I'm going to go make fun of Rihanna's dress tomorrow.
Yeah, when you're cutting grass while you're doing it, the stakes are a bit higher, dude. So yeah, but I'm glad he seemed to have stuck with it, and he's a nice guy. So I wish him all the best, man. He's
For
cool.
sure.
I like actually, especially a lot of comedians and just artists who come from the Midwest, that go to New York, that go to LA, to go out west to, you know, certainly work on their career in their craft. What was the Hollywood moment for you? What was the moment where you, coming from a small town in Ohio and then being hit with the bright lights and the moment, when was that moment for you?
You know, I had a few of those early on, but you know, it all would center around the Comedy Store in LA, because it was just it was, you know, when I got there, you know, it made me really realize and feel like this is where I needed to be, you know, because it's unlike any other club in the world. It's an artist colony, and or was, and you know, when I got there, I, you know, became a doorman, and I answered phones and all that stuff, but you know, the first time I got on at their what's called Potluck, their open mic, you know, I had been in LA for maybe less than a month. And, you know, I was just kind of like, yeah, I didn't visit LA or anything before that. So it's like, it's all pretty overwhelming. I had my best friend with me, which was good. But it was like, I'm like, did I do the right thing to, you know, leaving my everything behind? You know, I'm in this strange place. And I remember, you have to draw numbers at the Comedy Store to, you know, hopefully get a spot the following week. And I remember I drew number 6. And the following week I came in, and you know, I went on stage and I did 3 minutes, and I killed it. And it was like, I remember I came off, and the guy who was hosting the show was like, hey man, you know, I can recommend you for a showcase for Mitzi, so you don't have to do this crap anymore. And I'm like, but I think this is awesome.
Right.
Yeah, my standards are pretty low now, but I really just, and I remember at the time, this was still 1999, I mean, I floated on air down Sunset Boulevard and found a payphone and called my mom.
Wow.
And I'm like, when I just killed it at the Comedy Store, I'm like, I'm gonna stay here for a while.
Nice.
I need money. But you know, yeah, that was a big moment for me.
Whether it's Comedy Store or Laugh Factory or Improv or whatever in LA specifically, share with the folks, if you don't mind, what a typical Tuesday gig means to you financially as a headliner with specials, touring the country, everything. Say you do a 15-minute spot on a Tuesday at the Comedy Store or wherever in LA. What's a headliner make?
It means struggling for $15. That's what it means.
That's right.
That's what it is.
Because it's in that, like, I always find that to be the interesting part, because you'll have 10 people on a bill, 7 of which are on network TV shows.
Yeah.
The other 3 have specials, are the biggest names in the business, and you're like, wow, these guys must be crushing. It's like, no, it's not how that works.
I remember thinking, you know, before I got made what's called a paid regular at the Comedy Store.
That's
I
a
remember
huge
thinking,
deal.
Like, if I got made a paid regular, I'm like, oh, then I can pay rent with you know, if I get spots. And you ain't paying for gas with that. It's not gonna help. But you know what it is you know, you just get, you know, I mean, and it's funny because if you ever read the book, I'm Dying Up Here.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you read about what a struggle those people went through to get that money that were paid, you know, at the Comedy Store and then eventually the Improv and Laugh Factory, because like what it is, what they fought for was essentially when we do the original room, we get $15 per spot for our 15-minute spot.
Right.
And then when we do the main room, which only was, you know, used to be every night, but then it became on the weekends. But the main room was the big room, and the comics, the lineup would split half the door, which, you know, on a good weekend would amount to a couple $100.
Right.
And, you know, these people struggled, fought, went through meetings, and there were still like rivalries and you know, friendships that were ended. You know, Leno and Letterman were on opposite sides of that whole thing, and they've never really made up since. You know, and it's I mean, they've had bigger problems,
right, of course.
But it was a big deal to them back then. And you look at it now, and it's like, I mean, most of us let checks pile up in the office because we forget about them because they're
Right.
just, it's just a couple dollars. But people really, they went through a lot of strife.
Is that the weed out moment though? Is that because I feel like a lot of people go out to an LA or New York thinking that they can go to the Comedy Store, have a couple of hot sets, and then they're going to have that Netflix special. But once they realize that you're going to have to do a lot more of these at this
Put in your
type
place
of
so
rate,
quick, I bet.
like I feel like look, you really get a baptism by fire,
Yeah.
and you realize, oh, even when I made it, I still have to put in
Right.
more hours, more
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
more time.
Well, I mean, with the Comedy Stores, it's you're not going in for just a spot when you blow through town. You're signing up for essentially, a residency there, almost like you're signing up like to be part of a club.
Okay.
That a group of comedians who perform nightly at that place, and it's a challenge in itself to to kind of adapt to that environment, because it's not like like I didn't know it at the time, but I made a good move as far as going out there early as I could
Right.
in my career, because I remember a lot of guys back in like Cleveland and Pittsburgh when I was doing clubs there when I was first starting, they were like, well, I want to hone my craft for a while before I go out there. And it's like, the thing is those people just end up developing more of an ego. So then that they get out there, and it's like everybody starts from square one out there. It just doesn't matter who you
Right.
are. You have to start from the bottom, and it's like it's harder to do that if you've developed you're like, well, I usually do 45 minutes and I'm
Right.
headlining now. It's like, well, you're doing 3 now, dude. And that's
Right.
like, if you draw a number, so it could be a while.
Boy,
But it
what a
just is what
tough.
it is.
That's a conundrum, man. Because you understand, because you go out there and you can work on TV. You can be whatever, but again, you're just coming up, so you're going to be driving. You don't have any money, but you could have to drive an hour and 20 minutes to Bakersfield, depending on where you live, to go do an open mic that you might not even get in on.
Yeah.
And that, as compared to even St. Louis, where you could do 7 nights of shows a week with 10 to 60 minutes, depending
Yeah.
on how good you are.
Yeah.
Like that, what a conundrum. So you're saying if you're going to give a playbook to somebody coming up, just jump in.
Well, yeah, and I mean, look, I think if you're where I was in '99 now, though,
Right.
I think the game's different. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't
Okay.
think, I don't know if it's as necessary to go to an LA or New York anymore.
Right.
As a comic, like, well, me personally, like the reason why I felt comfortable just moving to Vegas instead of staying in LA is like I have 2 goals basically career-wise. I have, keep doing stand-up, obviously, keep, always trying to get better at that and trying to, basically chase a dragon there that's
Right.
just trying to always top what you've done before. But I want to obviously support myself and my family with my stand-up career, but I also have my animated project I've been working on for like 5 years that I want to make that happen.
Right.
But because of the internet and everything, just the way things are, you don't have to be right in LA to make
Right.
things like that
Very
happen.
true.
So it's like I can be there, work for a different crowd every night on the same stage and get, make a living and then do my show. So it's like if you're starting out now, there are a lot of cities all over the country now that I'm noticing a legitimate comedy scene sprouting up.
Yes, completely
Where
agree.
you can go to a bunch of different stages, and Chicago's great now.
Yes.
Indianapolis,
Yes.
dude, they have a lot of clubs.
They really
and
do.
They have a lot of comics and everything, and it's like, when I was in a kind of a dark age when I was starting, because it was like the late '90s was. After the comedy boom,
Yeah.
and clubs were shutting down, and I remember like in Cleveland there were no open mics. There was
And now
one,
Cleveland's like they just did JFL auditions there
right,
like yesterday.
Right. It's great now,
Yeah.
and it's like I'd say that with so much resentment. It's great now, jerks. But
Now it's good.
I mean, it's not that I don't hate it. For that.
He has the
But
same disdain for Baker Mayfield instead of Tim Couch. Yeah.
But yeah, right. I'm that twisted. But I was, like when I was there, I remember there was one club in Paynesville, Ohio, was like a suburb out, like they had a birthplace of Don Shula. But
I was gonna ask.
I say it like this.
Where was
but,
Don Shula?
Don't I sound like Marv Albert? But no, I don't. But I used to go out. They would give me like a MC spot on. They did Friday, Saturday shows. So they would let me go MC, but it was the only place I could get like stage time there. I remember I even broke down and I got one of those things in the mail about one of those comedy workshop classes taught by some scoundrel who's taking your money to try to teach you how to be a comedian, which is awful.
They did a really nice spoof of that in Marvelous Ms. Maisel. Ms. Maisel buying material from somebody. Very similar thing. Sorry.
That's but I remember I remember the guy who was the teaching that course, which was 3 classes and a show. But he was telling us, like, giving us suggestions on how to get stage time to work out our act.
Right.
And back then, there were so few stages. I remember one of his suggestions was find a movie line, buy yourself an amp, and a few of you just go out there, basically harass people at a movie and just and turn into it was Sinbad or the guy with Michael Collier on the boardwalk or something, which, it's like that's not everybody's game. And it certainly isn't mine. I'm not gonna go just harass tourists or like, hey, my man, where'd you capture? What? That's not my vibe.
I'm trying to think of who would be the worst at that. I was like a super alt comic, could not do it. Like David Cross would have a real hard time just talking to people on the street, right? And the guy's looking at
Look
you.
at the Hawaiian shirt. Look at it. Oh, you got a fanny pack? Is that right?
We just saw that. And the guy looks and he's like, Arsenio Hall was doing this at 13. Why can't you? I ain't Arsenio Hall, man.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
John Caparulo, I know you've got a busy day, so we'll allow you to leave. Thanks for coming by the Midcoast studio,
Thank
man.
you for
It was
having
a good
me,
time,
man.
man.
Talking to you
Thank you
guys.
again.
Yeah, you got to come back to We Are Live sometime. This weekend, upcoming shows. You can go to johncaparulo.com, buy tickets there for the St. Louis Funny Bone.
Please do.
Go see him. You're going to have our buddy, a commenter, Birch, sent in a photo. He said he saw you your first night at Harrah's. So he was
Okay,
really
cool.
excited to tune in here. So
Cool.
a lot of good
I'm sorry
comments
about
here.
the show. Still getting warmed up there. Check out my website. Check out my comic book, cartoon comic. The show I'm trying to make is I'm doing a comic series of it too, and I brought comic books to St. Louis to sell after the show.
Nice.
We
Gotta
sold them
buy
all
those.
last night. So
Nice.
check the website. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Congratulations.
It's very cool.
That's
I'm
why he
glad-
dragged
awesome.
his ass out of Vegas to here. St.
that's-
Louis supports,
Exactly.
man.
Come on, show more love.
man.
Absolutely.
We'll take a quick break. It's We Are Live. Thanks again to Tech Electronics for helping make the studio possible. Quick break. We'll be right back with Fair or Foul. Get those in. You can win $10 to Buzz's
Thanks, guys.
Wine Grill. Thanks, John.
Thank you, man.
We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live, live, live. We are live. Oh, yeah.
Welcome back to We Are Live. Chris Dem and Travis Shaw. Huge thanks to John Caparulo. Go see him at Funny
Great guy.
Bone this weekend.
He's officially now a brother of the show.
2-time appearance on the show.
What
right?
a good! I really do enjoy talking to the Midwestern comedians because those guys not only are hardworking, but they are just like, hey man, I'm just here to tell some jokes and just enjoy the rest of my life.
We're just all people, man. Just chill out. I'm just funnier than you.
Salt of the earth. Salt of the earth. The good people.
Can I tell you guys about my favorite veterinarian in town?
I don't know who could that be.
He's Dr. Ed. Ready? Ready? Dr. Ed.
Dr. Ed. Dr. Ed. Damn, he good, boy. That boy can sing. That boy can sing.
We got Fair or Foul coming up in a minute, but I'll tell you more about Dr. Ed and Hillside Animal Hospital. Check out their Facebook page. They're always updating, keeping you informed on their latest fear-free techniques. If you have animals in the St. Louis area or you want to visit St. Louis with your animal, you need to bookmark their page and be sure to go and visit Hillside Animal Hospital. Conveniently
Can I
located.
mark that page?
I'm ending the stream.
Okay,
right now.
damn it.
Thank
I'm
you.
So sorry, everyone.
That's something that we've been talking about doing, and we'll just do that. We'll just we'll get to it when we can get to it.
Okay, I tried. I tried.
Arf! Before we get into Fair or Foul,
Okay.
you know I like to assess your weekend. Guardsy, what do you got going this
You
weekend?
so damn nosy.
matter what I'm going to be doing this weekend, okay?
This is my favorite part because Chris asked as if he's going to actually leave the 5-mile radius of his home.
Well, maybe that's why he's curious.
Maybe you just never given me an option
Oh, that's true.
worthy of it.
Okay. All right. Well, Gardner, what are you doing this weekend?
By the way, fair or foul, we got if you want to get one or two more, and we got a good crop so far. But movies over 3 hours long, you could win $10 to Buzz's Wine Grill.
I got. I might end up at a place called Tawny tonight.
Tawny
Is it called Tawny?
Sushi Bistro, who
Sushi
you can
Bistro?
expect a big video project with us.
Is that with
Matt
the-
Widener and others?
Is that with the Messersmiths?
Yes.
Oh, exciting. I may see you there.
Don't dime out where the party's at.
Oh, sorry.
It's a private party, man.
Sorry, my bad. I did.
I probably shouldn't have said yes then.
Yeah, I guess my bad.
Double
Well,
blew
people
it.
know who are in the know and who are celebrities and who will not be allowed in. So, Kankles, nope, not for you, only for us.
By the way, speaking of that, people in filled rooms, packed last night at Southtown Pub. Great job, guys. So, Tawny.
Yeah, that's tonight. Tomorrow, got a wedding for my cousin.
Nice.
Wait. Let's talk about this. You're a man of comfort. What's your go-to sushi dive in? Because you're not going to be drinking. You're going to replace the calories with more fried sushi.
You are. It's very likely.
Orlando Pace has a big O roll there. Did you know that?
What's in it?
Deliciousness.
Um,
Wasn't that a good answer, Trey?
That was
I
terrible.
don't really. I'll probably just
Pancakes.
have a club soda or something.
Aw.
Like that.
You're not going to eat sushi?
I don't eat sushi.
You don't eat sushi at all.
Edamame?
No,
So
Even
do
the
you-
fried
Do you just
sushi?
not like sushi, or you just don't eat it?
I don't like it.
Oh, okay. Because I have friends who are like, I don't eat sushi. I was like, have you tried it? No. I was like, shut up then. Okay, but you
tried
tried
a
it.
lot of things.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like how you just look.
Yes, I've tried.
I've tried
It's just
food,
not my
Travis.
thing.
Okay.
Oh, it's
It's
so
all good.
good. I'm
Well, to
mad at you.
Yeah, get his ass. Get his ass. Yeah, that's the Gardner I've been looking for.
So good, yeah. You speak for
Yeah.
I don't know, probably a certain percentage of the population here. Let's calm down.
I think the blacks, the whites, and the Asians meet in the middle on sushi. We all appreciate sushi.
For the most part, yes.
I don't eat any seafood. I don't like
can't.
seafood.
Really?
Don't like shrimp. Don't like.
Can we get the guy who fell asleep on the board when we first started doing radio to take Gardner's spot?
I like tuna out of a can.
It's so weird.
Put some mustard and mayo in there.
I think the beauty about Chris Gardner is that you don't know Chris Gardner. Like, you have a
It's a
lot of
journey.
friends. It
It's a
is.
journey.
And you have a lot of friends and a lot of people who always speak highly of Chris. But if you were to ask them, like, who is Chris Gardner? They'd be like, I'm going to be honest with you. I've known him for 25 years. I do not know who
No
Chris
clue.
Gardner is. I feel like Amzinger is probably the same way. He's like, known you since you guys were, teenagers?
No, we were early 20s.
Early 20s. So still formidable years. A lot of things probably happened in your life during that time period. I bet you Amzinger will still go, yeah, man, I think I only still know like 45% of Gardner.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he learns stuff every time we hang out.
Yes, I feel
We had a good conversation on aliens on the golf course last time he was in town.
like we spend a lot of time with Gardner, but we will never, ever, ever get invited to a private golf course where we can play 18 holes with him. It's just understood because Gardner has brilliantly figured out a way to segment your life for yourself. Like where you like, this group of people is for this moment. This group of people is for this moment. This group of people is
Incredibly
for this.
selfish.
It is incredibly intelligent.
selfish.
You figured it out and you may want to consider writing a book because you do it so well. It's seamless. It's incredible because you have your Rosies, then you have your Amzingers, then you have us, and then you have
The
Sean,
Anunnakis.
and then you have Mr. Bojangles. Like you have worlds. You have your own universes essentially set up around St. Louis, and only you are the common denominator.
I'll say this, and I mean it, and it was dead serious, and maybe I'm spilling the beans on it. Matt Widener, dead serious, wants to make a Gardner documentary.
I would look, you can try. It would be one of the highest rated shows in the history of Netflix because there are
A lot of shots of Forest Park.
like I even feel like your girlfriend's gonna be like, yeah, I know 95%. That other 5%, there's something he did in Europe for 6 months that he still refuses to talk about. But I that's how well I know the man I'm dating.
She's getting smarter.
Ah!
And we're going to the Fox Theater tomorrow night as well.
Nice.
on
What's
the
at the Fox
Fox?
Theater?
Waitress.
Ah, that's right. That should be very delightful.
I don't know what it is. I'm simply going. My friend Don, who spends half his time in Florida now for tax purposes.
See what I mean? Another universe.
Can we do?
He has season tickets to the Fox. Has really good seats. And
Nice.
Left me them before he left.
Oh, that's
town.
really cool.
Can we do a quick little role play here, since it's theater? You be the waitress on stage. I'll be 53-year-old dude, had one too many whiskey sodas at dinner with his wife, and you're performing. Middle of performance. Go ahead.
Are you guys done with everything here? Can I get
Check,
you the
please. Oh, boy.
Check, please.
Oh, man. That guy. Look at him. Look at him.
That's pretty good.
That
actually.
is pretty good.
It's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
Am I wrong?
No, you're very correct. It is St. Louis, and
Thank
people
you.
do have more than one drink before they go
Hang
to
on, wait, wait,
anything.
Ready? Do another line. I'll be his cousin in row 2.
Can I get you guys anything for dessert or coffee, perhaps?
I'm nudging my wife with my elbow.
Something else, or wrapping things up, or what are we gonna do here?
I'll have what she's having. The movie with the city slicker guy.
You saw, is that Billy Crystal? Was that him? That was Billy? Yeah, that was him.
So now I'm going to do this to Jess.
Oh, please
So
don't.
I'm going to check, please.
As she just nails you in the arm, she's going to punch the hell out
Be
of
like
you.
my dad in church when I would sing in a real high falsetto, and my dad would just there'd be an elbow sometimes in the ribs because I'd be saying, "There I am, Lord," and then
Chris.
it's either the elbow or it's the glare over.
Fast forward to 3 Easters from now. Same dad at Easter. The young kids gather around the table. Did you hear about the time I yelled, "Check, please," the Fox seal?
Cheryl was telling me you guys went to the Fox 3 years ago. You went into the city.
I'm not the only ham in the family.
No.
Steve over here. You know what he yelled?
Well, what did Steve yell? Steve, you were
I'll
there.
I'll tell him. Hang on.
What happened?
I'll have what she's having.
Oh, Steve. Oh, did the agents call immediately after that?
Well, the guys at work said I should do stand-up.
Oh,
and
okay.
I figured this is my slice of it. I've seen Netflix. It's not that hard.
I've seen a number of Netflix specials.
So you're gonna wow, you got a pretty busy weekend.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I'll probably pop in here on Sunday morning then.
Oh, nice. Well done.
That's normally my schedule.
Denman, how about yourself? You will
I don't
probably
trust you in here on the weekends, tinkering around.
Sunday
God
mornings.
knows what.
I'm in here
setting
on
up,
Sunday
setting
mornings.
up espionage type things.
Get
in
a
here.
coffee.
That's what he does. He drains the coffee account.
We get to the bottom of it.
And he brings a carafe. He brings a carafe home, Travis.
Yes, as we get to the bottom
I
of
don't
this.
make coffee here on Sunday mornings. I bring Northwest coffee in. My own.
Northwest Coast is very good.
Jess has the car on Sunday.
And I can't be alone with my thoughts.
I might try and lime scooter down here from my apartment.
Nice. That's not bad. That'd
See
probably
what
be
the
like,
weather's like.
yeah, I think it may be a little wet this weekend,
you-
but you should definitely get on that. Probably a 15 minute
Some
scooter
potholes
ride.
that could be dangerous. I've noticed
Do you
on the path.
do you
That's very
This
true.
could be-
It is very. That's an adventure.
do you tie the hair up on the lime scooter, bun it,
Let it
samurai?
Let it flow.
Let it flow.
See, that's
What
why
if
I'm
it
so
got
jealous.
caught? What if it got caught in like a dumpster or something?
Oh, we have a disaster on
Oh,
our hands.
boy.
Hopefully someone's recording at that point randomly.
Chris, what farmers market will you be attending to this weekend?
I won't be leaving my yard.
Why not?
Just I can't stand people. I need to recharge. I'll talk to my dogs, just here and there. Watch roughly 9 hours of other podcasts.
Oh God.
Go for some. I'll do about 8 miles in the park.
8 miles in the park doing what? On a bike?
Oh, there goes rabbit, like rapping.
Oh, you would know. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
8
what you
mile
mean
into
by
the
your 8
park.
mile.
Yeah.
Okay, you're like 8 miles of what?
Mom, spaghetti.
You don't even like driving 8 miles. let
No.
alone
I'll walk my dogs about 8 miles over the weekend.
Over the weekend. So
Yes,
okay, in
correct.
intervals. Okay, that's not bad at all. Look at you, big sport.
Yep. And Trav?
I will.
He doesn't want to say because he has actual plans. He does. He thinks he's so important that people are going to show up and crash
Well,
his
the
thing.
I don't know
Sorry.
if I can make it is the thing because I'm going to be at the
We're not
top.
invited.
Yeah,
We're not been formally invited.
I'm sending out
He
invites.
made
I sent
me-
out invites
he
last
made him-
night,
he
and then I
made
sent
me-
out more invites today.
He made me find him a place to hang out and then wouldn't invite me.
I got a text.
He's got
I
a
got a
text.
text.
Did
He-
you not get a
he
text?
did. Heathen. Okay, sorry.
So yeah, I will. I've been wanting to try out Sophia's here in Zach building. So I'll be Sophia's. Yeah, Sophia. Don't Sophie's me. Is it Sophie's? Is it Sophia's? That girl up downstairs.
Sophie's.
Yes, Sophia's.
Sophie's.
Why don't you listen to the word I'm saying?
I don't think that's. Is that how you say it?
Dot Zach building.
Okay, so yes, I'm going to do a little cocktail hour here. I will be having dinner with the family at the Midwestern because
you
a
tributed
famous
it
personality gave it 6 booty, so it must be good. And then I'm going to take my very young ass, because I'm turning 30, to Westport Social. Out in Westport.
That's a big night.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a little Papa Shot, do a little maybe some karaoke.
Trap karaoke?
There may be some trap in my karaoke.
This is something I'm new to.
Yeah.
Explain to me.
The trap karaoke is when
Here we go.
you don't do the lame songs. I did karaoke last night though too.
It's going to be our fair
He
file
did.
on Monday. Trap
Yeah.
karaoke.
There is video
He did
evidence.
karaoke last night, and
I
he
saw.
did. What was it?
Oh boy, you did?
Billy Fat Pants sent me a video on the socials.
Yes.
Damn it, Billy Fat Pants.
Were you singing Boys to Men? I'll make love to you.
Yes.
By the way, half of the St. Louis comedians were there jamming some karaoke. We owe them a big thank you to the great support we've been shown. Wonderful crowd again last night at
Absolutely.
South Pub. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Haven't told you about Tommy Bannister. He will help you when it's time to sell your home or purchase a new one.
at
That's
Tommy.
Tommy
He's in
Bannister,
great shape.
Circa Properties, right here in St. Louis, Missouri. Be sure to take care of your boy, because he takes care of us. Let's do some fair or foul.
At this
Sometime.
At this defining moment, change has come to America.
People often ask me, what's fair or foul? Is it a segment? Is it a movement? Is it hope? I can't say for certain. Time will be a true test of its power. But I can say, fair or foul is now and forever for the people. Gather around the radio with your loved ones and hold on to your butts. It's now time for fair.
We give it back to you, the people.
Or foul.
It's the segment that Gartner calls the best in the world. He said it several times. We have it on record. It's the fair or foul from 4 days ago.
So I'm gonna do some navigating here, trying to pick up the.
Oh!
different days.
I guess the emails work now, huh? That's
Fair.
weird.
Where else can I Can I take my family and pay $80 so I can take a nap in one of those fantastic recliners? TTs, pink eye.
That's a good point.
I feel like how many pieces of furniture at IKEA on a Saturday mid-morning are occupied by really angry dads, just plunked in. Don't you think?
No, because I think IKEA is IKEA. Like, you either are prepped to go to IKEA or you're not going at all. So I think most men who go to IKEA already know what they're getting into as soon as they walk through the door. So I don't think they would be plopped down. I think they would be enthusiastic about shopping at IKEA. IKEA, the gem of St. Louis. No.
Helicopter bait.
Okay.
Fair. All the studio has to do is start a rumor that there's a nude scene featuring Black Widow. Titanic already proved guys will sit through any 3-hour movie as long as they're promised a hot redhead gets naked. The black sheep coming strong.
Very true.
Foul. A 3-hour movie? 3 minutes is more like it from you chumps and your sad sack of walnuts. Not a mean. Cankles. P.S. I know it's a lame submission, but I do not want to bang on Travis' mom again. What? I don't follow.
Cankles, you're not invited to my birthday weekend. And that'll show him. That'll show his ass. He'll learn.
All right, hang on.
Oh boy, Chris and reading.
Working through it.
Here we go. Reading comprehension from Farmington's finest. Here we go. We only paid $35,000 a year to Columbia College, and here we are. Chris Stedman, unable to follow
Fair.
how the internet works.
We've become such a fat, lazy people that we binge watch everything. We literally sit on the couch watching TV for so long that the TV has to ask if we're still watching or if we've died. I think we can handle a 3+ hour Marvel movie. The real crime here is that the first 2 National Treasures were only 2 hours, 11 minutes each.
Amen.
Were they really? That was
Oh.
the total between those 2 movies?
Well, no, each.
Oh, each. Okay, I was like, man, damn, you telling me 2? Goodness.
Speaking of comprehension.
I didn't do math, Wales.
When Gardner bankrolls number 3, we need to push 4 hours to cover all of the conspiracies. Triangle Assassin.
I like that play.
Do you?
I just realized, is that the Declaration of Independence? Is he carrying that around like on his satchel? And that's like, oh wow, man, they went in deep with that thing, didn't they?
By the way, Travis, you're going to Treview National Treasure next week.
Okay,
That's your Treview.
all right.
Foul. Us didn't need to be over 3 hours long. I know what you're saying, that it only has a run time of 1 hour and 56 minutes. But all the white South Countyans who went to Ronnie's over the weekend thought they were only going to be scared of black people on the screen.
Oh God, they're in the theaters. This Jordan Peele's a genius.
Must be like a live performance art thing.
Oh man, this is good, man. Look, they're like right there. You can touch them. It's like 4D.
So when Travsaurus strolled in and they realized there was a real-life black person in the theater, they internally started screaming, "Oh, we're gonna die!" Since they were on edge, time started moving at half speed for them until the movie was over, and they finally made it to Applebee's, their favorite food restaurant.
You won't believe what we saw at the Ronnie's. The Negroes are actually in the theaters.
That's from the JVL Jackal.
It is a good food restaurant. It's very
Certainly
delicious.
is. Good stuff. I'm sorry if I missed any of them through the wonders of the internet, but it seems like we got a good amount in. What do you got, Guardsy?
Man, that's tough. That's a good grouping.
That is good.
I'm going to go Black Sheep.
I am going to go Black Sheep as well.
Black Sheep wins. $10 to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill. Congratulations to you and yours, everybody. $10 to Buzz's Hawaiian Grill. Big thanks to everybody for tuning in. Be sure to check out all the people who support us. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We're back on the live stream Monday at 8 a.m.
Peace.